What are the stories about the renowned black regiments of armies used to conquer vast lands and the black rulers who held Spain? Why does black history talk so much about them when it comes to the Africans who converted to Muslims? And above all, how are these black armies related to Moors, a rather less-known term for most people? Welcome to a new episode of Black Culture Diary, a channel where we talk about less-known and hidden black history, culture, arts, and lost civilization. We scrutinize history here to bring the black culture back on the surface again. In this episode, we will tell you about the Moors, who they were, and their relation to the black history and culture. Let's get started. So, who were the Moors in the first place? When the African diaspora imagines Moors, they often think about the images of black soldiers or rulers who conquered Spain. In the 7th century, as Islam spread across North Africa, numerous Africans embraced the faith and formed their own Islamic armies to advance their cause. These armies later became known as Moors in the eyes of various Europeans. Surprisingly, the utilization of black soldiers in the Middle East can be traced back to ancient times and was not a novel concept. However, it was the mobilization of Islam and the significant influx of diverse Africans joining forces that resulted in their historical identification as Moors. Furthermore, various Persian rulers employed African mercenaries to assist in the conquest and control of new territories. African warriors from Nubia, renowned for their exceptional archery skills, were highly sought after for their services. Even before the Arab conquest of North Africa, black soldiers were already an integral part of their armies. One of the earliest mentions of a black soldier, later referred to as an Amor by Europeans, was a warrior named Washi, who distinguished himself in battle, notably during the capture of Mecca in the time of Muhammad. In the early days of Islam, Arabs employed a strategic approach to entice individuals from the Middle East and North Africa to join their ranks, offering freedom as an incentive. This shrewd maneuver allowed the Arabs to amass a significant and devoted following while diversifying their military composition. In the 9th century, North African slave armies became highly sought after, as ambitious Amazigh governors sought their services to establish autonomous principalities. These soldiers from Inner Africa were expected to demonstrate unwavering loyalty to their governors, as their distinct ethnic background made them less invested in the needs and concerns of the majority population. The North African caliphs themselves embraced this tradition to consolidate their power and preempt any dissension from Arab or Amazigh factions. Essentially, the recruitment of black men from regions further south formed the bedrock of Moorish supremacy. That's where it's essential to understand that black soldiers had been an integral part of Islamic armies even before the 9th century. However, their prominence reached its pinnacle around that period. For instance, during the Umayyad dynasty, Abd al-Rahman I, the first emir of Cordoba in Spain, who came to power in 756, maintained a substantial personal guard comprising black troops. Under his leadership, a Muslim dynasty was established, ruling a significant portion of Spain for nearly 3 centuries, and all subsequent rulers employed black soldiers, particularly to maintain order. This is where much of the confusion arises. Some people might argue that the Moors were exclusively black individuals when examining early Moorish history. However, we must not disregard the presence of Arab or Amazigh soldiers. In fact, at various points in Moorish history, there were more Arab and Amazigh soldiers than black soldiers, especially before the 9th century. If we want to attribute significance to the statement that the Moors were black people, we need to consider its contextual relevance. When discussing events preceding the 9th century, it can only be used to demonstrate how black soldiers were utilized to reinforce the Sultan's power. When the 9th century arrived, there was a rapid transformation in the composition of Moorish forces. Ahmad ibn Tulun, who became the first independent ruler of Muslim Egypt in 884, heavily relied on black soldiers, many of whom originated from Sudan, including a substantial number of Nubians. It is said that upon his death, he commanded an army of 24,000 white soldiers and 45,000 black soldiers. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. In essence, the majority of his army consisted of black men. His son was safeguarded by 1,000 black soldiers alone. A chronicler vividly described them, portraying them as wearing black cloaks and turbans, creating a spectacle akin to a black sea spreading over the land due to their dark complexion and garments. Their gleaming shields, swords, and helmets presented a truly magnificent sight. Hence, it becomes evident that the 9th century marked a significant rise in the prominence of black soldiers, lending Moorish armies their distinctive character. Any European army that had not witnessed such a large number of black soldiers would undoubtedly take note and associate them with the military might of the Muslims. This is evident in the literature, which often portrays the power of the Moors through depictions of black men. This is why the focus on the Almoravids and the Almohads is noteworthy when discussing the contributions of Afro-descended people to Moorish history. These two Moorish ruling dynasties in Spain made extensive use of black soldiers and had rulers who closely resembled various African ethnic groups further south. For example, Yaqub al-Mansur of the Almohads, whom I consider the greatest Moorish leader in the history of Muslim Spain, had a black mother believed to be from Mali or Senegal. One of the primary reasons for the significant increase in the number of black soldiers was the need for North African Amazigh rulers to maintain complete control over their armies, without facing challenges from intermediate powers or opposing ethnic loyalties, such as the Arabs or other Amazigh clans. It would have been challenging for black soldiers from the interior of Africa to rally the local Arab or Amazigh populace due to ideological, social, and political divisions between them. Therefore, it was black men who served as protectors of the ruler in his palace, defenders of the capital, and upholders of imperial authority. The tradition of employing black soldiers among the Moors continued to develop in Morocco for centuries after their expulsion from Spain in 1492. During the 18th century, Sultan Moulay Ismail of Morocco strategically utilized black soldiers to consolidate his power. Despite being the son of an Arab prince and a black woman, Moulay Ismail perceived the immediate threat to his rule as coming from Arabs, Amazighs, and Turks in Algeria. To counter this, he assembled the largest army in Moroccan history, consisting of 250,000 black soldiers. This formidable force allowed him to wield significant authority and undermine the power and influence of local tribal groups within his nation. Moulay Ismail went even further by demanding that other Moroccan ethnic groups surrender their weapons and horses to his all-black Moorish army. But let's know about the time when Moors ruled over Spain independently. It's less known that the Moors ruled Spain and parts of Europe from 711 to around 1492, bringing immense knowledge and advancements that continue to impact Europe even today. The Moors introduced many advancements to Europe, particularly in the sciences. These scientific achievements brought positive changes to the region during a challenging period in Europe's history. Their contributions spanned various fields such as astronomy, philosophy, mathematics, architecture, and medicine. They also introduced new technologies and a numbering system. One remarkable example of Moorish architectural achievement is the Alhambra in Granada, Spain. This impressive structure, which still stands today, showcases their mastery of geometry and ratios in its design and construction. Every aspect of the building, from the foundation to the wall art, follows a single ratio, creating a sense of perfection. The Moors were also renowned for their expertise in medicine. They made remarkable progress in this field and surpassed the Greek-trained physicians of Persia, Nestorians, and other Islamic nations. Moorish medicine was based on experimentation, reasoning, and observation. Moorish physicians utilized drugs, surgery, and categorized medicine. Their medical profession was highly technical, with extensive training and a code of conduct. In contrast, Europe relied on a medical system based on superstition, relics, worship, and prayer. Even after the Moors were largely driven out of Europe, European medical schools were built on Moorish foundations, techniques, and research. The intellectual achievements of the Moors had a profound and lasting effect. Education was widespread in Moorish Spain, while in Christian Europe, the majority of the population was illiterate, including kings. The Moors had 17 universities in cities like Almeria, Cordova, Granada, Jaén, Malaga, Seville, and Toledo. Universities in Paris and Oxford were established after scholars visited Moorish Spain. This system of education brought about the European Renaissance and lifted the continent out of 1,000 years of intellectual and technical stagnation during the Middle Ages. The contributions of the Moors and Islamic societies of old in Spain deserve recognition and appreciation, especially in the fields of medicine and education. They brought enlightenment and progress to Europe, leaving a significant legacy that shaped the world we live in today. During the 10th and 11th centuries, Europe lacked public libraries, while Moorish Spain could proudly boast of having more than 70 libraries, including the remarkable one in Cordova that housed hundreds of thousands of books. Not only that, but it was Moors who introduced a wide range of crops to Europe, including oranges, lemons, peaches, apricots, figs, sugarcane, dates, ginger, pomegranates, as well as cotton, silk, and rice. Many of these crops remain prominent products in Spain today. Even the Moors introduced magnificent palaces. Moorish rulers lived in grand palaces, in stark contrast to the monarchs of Germany, France, and England, who resided in large structures without windows or chimneys, with only a hole in the roof for smoke to escape. The introduction of paper and Arabic numerals in Europe was also done by the Moors. It's surprising to know that the Arabic numeral system had replaced the Roman system for some time. Prior to this, the Romans counted using alphabets instead of numbers. Even the modernity of Cordoba is attributed to the Moors. During its height, Cordoba, the heart of Moorish territory in Spain, stood as the most modern city in Europe. Its streets were well paved, with raised sidewalks for pedestrians. Even at night, 10 miles of streets were illuminated by lamps. These advancements in urban infrastructure preceded the presence of paved streets in Paris or street lamps in London by several centuries. Did you know that people had given a special name to the impeccable black armies and rulers called Moors? Do you think that the Moors were the most skilled warriors, archers, and fighters on the battlefield? Well, history tells us so. Let us know your opinions on the Moorish character of the black soldiers even today. Aren't black military officials robust and mightier like the Moors? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.